Defense University. Now let's welcome to her speech.
Thank you very much.
Professor Jo.
Thank you, Prof. Rong. I'm sharing my screen now, but okay. Right. So allow me just 1 second. So is my screen okay? Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's better to make it full also.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. Rong. Once again, thank you very much for the organizer. So a very good morning to all. Assalamualaikum and greetings. So I do hope that everybody is enjoying their weekend. Here in Malaysia, we are still in the middle of celebrating Eid Mubarak. So that's why. So after this, I'm running to an open house where there's a celebration, and then I'll come back for the afternoon session to chair one of these technical sessions. Okay, so today basically I would like to share my, I would say, ongoing research, because I'm still doing it for the students of the current semester. So basically what I would like to share this morning is on this area, language and culture, the students' expectations on translation topics. So if, let's say, there's any questions that you would like to ask, this is my email address, jowati@upnm.edu.my, and basically very briefly, I am Jowati binti Johari, but most students call me Madam Jojo, so you can also address me as Jojo, not a problem. And as being introduced just now, I'm from the National Defense University of Malaysia, and this is the areas that I'm going to talk a little bit today or this morning. So introduction, selected literature, the methodology that I have adopted for this brief research, the findings and the conclusion. Now, before I start with the introduction, I think I heard the conversation between Professor Jose and Paul just now about the situations that we are in now. Okay, in Malaysia, especially in my university, this semester, which started 14 March, and this week is the 10th week of the semester, or 9th week of the semester. So we started 14 March fully online. And then after the government announced the endemic period for Malaysia, somewhere in 1st April, so we started to have high flags. That means some students are already in the classroom, some students are online. And then recently, about 2 weeks ago, we started to have everybody on campus. So it's a very unique semester for this second semester, because we have 3 different learning environments, I would say. Okay, so basically that's the scenario in my university, the Defense University. So this particularly short research is actually on exploring the students' expectations for translation lessons. So ladies and gentlemen, in my university, there's one particular academic program that I'm teaching. The name of the program is Bachelor of Social Sciences, Languages and Cross-Cultural Communications. And one of the core compulsory courses is this course that I'm teaching this semester. And the name is Translating Language and Culture, Representations and Negotiations. So in this course, there's one lesson that is for translation topic, and according to the previous cohorts of the program, they say that this is one of the most difficult topic, the translation lesson. So that's why I'm thinking that in order for me to search and to prepare for the best materials as well as activities for the students, so I need to do this ongoing session of research and looking into this issue. And this topic, I'm going to introduce the students to approaches to translation, theories, strategies and trends. That's it, because there are other topics under this course. And these theories, approaches, strategies, trends, as well as poetry translation, which is going to be the application for this whatever that they have learned. So they are conducted in week 3, week 4, week 5, and week 7. So basically, the students have completed all these topics basically, because now it's already week 9. And as I said, because translation is a very difficult topic for the previous students, so I was thinking that I need to know what's the expectation of the student in terms of this course, and particularly when they look at the word, the title of the course itself, Translating Language and Culture, they thought that it's only on translation, but it's not. There's more to that. And I would say the objectives or the purpose of me doing this is actually to first to understand the students' expectation, and more importantly, I believe that to prepare the most suitable reading materials and learning activities to match the students' expectation. Now, before we go into more details of this, some of you may be wondering how did I go about doing this. I will explain more in the methodology, but just me mention this so that you have a better idea. So in week 1, 14 March that week, the first week of the semester, after the introduction of the course, the overview of the outline of the course, I actually asked all students to share their expectations. And because during those period, 3 weeks, the first 3 weeks of the semester was fully online, so I asked them to share their thoughts on Padlet. So that's on Padlet. And then in week 3, after they have completed the first lesson, which is on the approaches, traditional approaches and contemporary approaches to translation, in week 3, this is the last week of the fully online session, so I asked them to share and to argue whether they prefer traditional or contemporary approach in an online forum. So that's how I did it. Now let's have a look at the selected literature. So basically, there's only two domains that I covered in this selected literature: the expectations in teaching and learning, and then secondly, the aspects of translation, what were covered in terms of the lessons for translation. Expectation, it's very important. When I was doing my first degree, I did TESOL, Teaching English as a Second Language. The first thing that my lecturer said was that you need to have high expectations of the students so that the students can perform. So I do believe that after going through the process myself, after teaching and all for about 15 years, and so expectations are very powerful in teaching and learning. And not only your expectations as instructors, but the students' expectations too are very critical. And I do believe that if, let's say, and this actually happened, because as educators, you tend to have, okay, this group of students, they are high performance. This group of students, not so high performers. So what happens is that you put expectation differently to across the board. So educators that have high expectations for students' performance, they tend to treat students differently depending on these expectations. So this is very, very true, because I believe that all of you have also experienced this. And basically, for the students' expectation, I agree with Prof. Paul argument just now during the this session. The students, they have this. They are now, I believe, very comfortable learning remotely. They do not want to come to campus, which I think is very wrong. The same goes to educators. Some educators are now refusing to come to campus because 2 years, sitting at home doing work, they feel that I can relax, I can do what I want, but I can still teach or I can still study. So because of this 2 years period, the students have been learning online. They expect different treatment because they say, we cannot go to the library, for example. So you need to give us the materials. I do not have proper or stable internet access. So, you have to give us. So these expectations, although it can be wrong, but still they have expectations. So they have expectation about the assessment. They have different expectation of the teachers teaching, the materials. They always thought that, oh, because it's online, so you should be lenient towards us. No, education doesn't work that way. So yeah, so this is on expectations. And then aspect of translation. So this is very straightforward because only 4 weeks were dedicated to this topic. So theories that were covered 2, traditional approaches 5, contemporary approaches 6, strategies 2, and that's it basically. And then the trend, and then the application was done in week 7 for poetry translation, where students have to along the way apply this and discuss and argue. So that's on aspects of translation. Now the methodology, more on the methodology here. What I did for this ongoing research is qualitative. The nature is qualitative. As I explained earlier, 2 stages: Padlet for learning expectation of the course, and then the online forum in week 3 of the preferences for traditional or contemporary approaches to translation. The reason why I asked this on the online forum was that some students were saying that, oh, this is traditional approaches is very easy, or you know, contemporary approaches or modern approaches difficult. So I asked them to argue in such a way that you have to provide reason, you have to support your reasoning. So they have to do it in an online forum. And I analyzed manually because there's only 38 students for this particular course. There's only 1 group for this particular course, so 38 in terms of number of students. So I analyzed manually. So what I looked for was actually the word that they like, for example, I prefer this over that. So those are the things that I did for this methodology. And basically the findings, there are 3 findings that I term as themes for this particular paper or short research. The first one, students, they expect to improve their communication through understanding how translation works and functions. So these are their expectations. So they say that one of the word that they use, I'm thinking that if I learn translation, then I can communicate better. I believe that this is more for intercultural communication. And then the second theme, some students had projected or had envisioned that they wanted to embark on becoming translators. Of course, they need to go for specialized training in order to get certified, because this is just, you know, one academic course. But at least they have been exposed to it. And some respondents expected that when they learn how to do translation, they would be able to study and understand other cultures better. Now, before I explain more on this, I just want to show, this is from the Padlet. I just screenshot and took from the Padlet the name of the student. So my expectations, I could utilize the course, especially in my career field, translate different languages with ease. Ladies and gentlemen, for this particular course, I only focus on the first language, which is Malay. In Malaysia is Malay to English and English to Malay. Because of my own limitation, I cannot speak any other languages. And then it will be a stepping stone for his ambition, and to expose myself to new cultures and understanding. Now, although the translation are for Malay, English, English, Malay, but of course, during the whole course itself, when we talk about cultural identity, so we have, we have to expose the students to Arabic cultures, for example, or the American cultures or the British cultures, so all those. So this one is the second one, also from the Padlet. I like all the subtopics to be studied. I was expecting that I will be studying more in depth on how to do better translation in terms of grammar and sentence structure. And just now, Prof. Paul also said that grammar and structure is very critical. But meaning must be there together with structural issues like grammar and sentence structure. And this is another one from Padlet. So relate to identity and all those. And this one here, week 3, this is from the online forum. So what do you think of the contemporary approach to translation? So prefer contemporary approaches to translation because there's more guidelines, so compared to traditional approaches. So these are the comment by this student. And this one, she preferred traditional approach over translation, especially the equivalent approach. So they gave reasons. So all actually answered and gave their reasoning. Now let's look a little bit more for this students' expectation to improve their communication. I believe that upon looking at the overall situation, students they expect to polish and to improve with learning how to translate effectively and systematically. Because before we started the topic, I did ask, have you ever translated anything in your life? Even one short sentence. They say that some said yes, some said no. So I said, was it difficult? Was it fun? Was it easy? Some of them said that, oh, it's easy. For example, let's say in Malay, how are you? In English, in Malay, apa khabar? So those are the things. So they say that it's easy, but that's just one short term or word. So we are talking about translation work that may take maybe few pages. So for them to polish, and they have this idea that if they were to be good at translation, that would be able to help them to polish and improve learning overall on how to translate effectively and systematically. And for the second finding, team 2, some of them they envision that they want to become translators. And as I said, of course, they have to go through a special courses so that they can get certified. So students were these were their expectations. Students were very clear about what they plan to do after graduating, and that they hope that the knowledge in translation can assist them in future career. And the third one, they wanted to study and understand other cultures better. So students' expectations here may be directed to the importance of respecting and understanding cultures and languages of others. So this translation lessons allow them to respect and understand others better. So this one here, I believe, for the first reason or purpose of this particular short research. And for the conclusion, this one is very critical for me. When I look at the students' expectation, of course, before the semester started, I have prepared the materials. But when I look at the expectations, so before week 3 came, I actually prepared a new set for the students. So this is very critical for continual quality improvement. So for your information, this is the 3rd year that contemporary approaches were introduced. Before this, we only had traditional approaches. And when you talk about online learning, it's very difficult because, okay, we have to admit, we have Google Translate. Google Translate can translate whatever from whatever language to the target language. So the idea here is for the students to not use Google Translate. They have to use their own instinct, they have to use their own knowledge, they have to use their own skills, I would say. So it's very challenging to teach this online because the students have this assistance, the machine, the computer, so it's very challenging. So I have to change, each time I have to change the strategy in terms of teaching this. So for me, this is very critical, not so much for the students. And then, as I said, because it's critical, more materials and activities pertaining contemporary approaches must be prepared. So what happened during, after week 1 and then week 3, week 4, 5 and 7, week 7 high flex, so some of them are already in the classroom. But week 4 and 5, yeah, week 4 and 5 also have flags. So what happens is that students online, they will have to wait for the students in the classroom to prepare the questions, because I use flipped classroom, so there's no lectures, so all activities. So the students in the classroom have to prepare something for the students online to present or to do whatever. Otherwise, the students online will just be looking at whatever is happening. Because if let's say the students online have to prepare, then they have the assistant from Google Translate or whatever. So students in the classroom, so they will given time, maybe 10 minutes, and then they will have to send the information to the students through the chat box in MS Teams. We use MS Teams, and then the students online will have to do maybe role play according to the script prepared by the students in the classroom. So yeah, it's very challenging teaching online for this particular topic. And I do believe that if, let's say, the students wanted to become translators, as I said, they have to go through certification, but most importantly, they must have the passion, because understanding other culture is not easy. You have schemata, you have different perceptions altogether. Looking at things differently, or looking at other people who act differently, can sometimes repulse some of us. So yeah, that's the idea. So in order to become translators, what we have prepared at the university is to give them this small exposure, but enough for them to have the rough idea what it will be in order to become translators. And last but not least, because of whatever that we have prepared, it is hoped that the students who want to venture into translation as their future career can actually think of this, and then can do the necessary actions and take necessary steps in order to do this. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that's it. Thank you very much. And if you have questions, you can ask now, or if you're still thinking and we are running out of time, then you can just email me at joati@upnm.edu.my. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Professor Joati.